Okay, first we're going to start cutting our pieces. I've decided to use 5.5-inch squares for this particular disappearing 9-patch block. So I've got my ruler set, I got my weight to hold it down, I have my custom rotary cutter, and we're going to go ahead and cut that. Okay, see how we do here. Make sure this is set where it should be. Shift a little bit on me, there we go. So the next thing we do is we're going to have to cut the squares. This is several pieces of fabric stacked up, so that I cut several squares at one time saves work. First I'm going to cut off the selvage. You never use the selvage if you can help it. It doesn't have the same stretchability and character as the rest of the fabric, so cut that selvage off. I'm going to cut 5.5 inches over, and I'm going to cut a lot of these blocks out. I need 9 different kinds of blocks for this 9-patch quilt, because it's just square with 9 blocks in it to start with. So you see, I've already cut these, and before I put them in, what I'll do is I'll take my square here, my square measurement, line it up, make sure they're lined up really well. If you have to turn to the back to see if you're lined up, that's a good thing. Sometimes it's easier to see from the back because it's lighter. Then I put it on my 5.5 inch because it has a marking for 5.5 here and here. Make sure it's square. I see a little bit of tail thing I have to cut. Precision is a good thing. And then we have our squares. So I'll finish cutting these squares out and on to the next thing. Okay, here's all my 9 fabrics I'm using in this quilt. Now the outer ones may be in different locations on the other blocks I start with, but this gold is going to be in the center every time, and there's a reason for that. I'll tell you why. So the next step is to sew these 9 blocks together in this arrangement, and then we're going to do something interesting with that. Okay, so we'll get you back to the next stage, and we'll find out why. And when you start to do more after you sew this together, then you'll find out why I put this solid color in the middle, and why it's going to be in the middle every time, no matter what happens on the outside blocks here. So on to the next stage. Piece this together here. So do this.
So the block ends up being 14.5 inches, which means the finished block will be 14 inches once these seam allowances are sewn in. All we did was we cut it in half this way and took a 1/2 turn counterclockwise on each one and sewed them all back together, and there's your finished block. And when you put them together, you'll get a pattern that'll be very interesting. It's a really easy beginner pattern. Super easy. Now, like I said, this was not a sewing lesson. You'll have to learn to do that on your own. This is just how to make this block and for the disappearing 9 patch. And you could make this one pattern for the rest of your life and never have one quilt look like the next.